Well, good morning and welcome to Community Chit Chat here on Saturday mornings from 9 to 10 o'clock. I'm Jim Bosson, your host, and we're here again every Saturday from 9 to 10 o'clock over on KMBY over the air at 19.4 and on the internet at KMBYTV.com. My special guest today, this is going to be fun. It's a subject that I was just telling him that I'm somewhat fascinated with, and I always like to, I guess, push the envelope. So we're going to do this. We're going to bring him up the way I bring up my guests. We have John Klopfenstein. Am I pronouncing that correct all the time?
Yeah, that's correct.
Is that good?
Yeah.
That F is silent. Is that what you say?
Yeah, it's silent. Correct.
You ever thought of getting the F out of there? No.
No.
Okay, I wanted to use that for the ability there. And let's see how I got your title. I got John Klopfenstein. It's Stein, no, Steen, not Stein.
Klopfenstein.
Klopfenstein. Okay, so let's start off with this. Attorney at law, Salinas, California. Where actually are you located? Besides, you're probably in your vehicle a lot, aren't you?
I do a lot of driving. I'm located in Gablin Street, a couple of blocks from the courthouse.
A couple of blocks from the courthouse. Okay.
Yeah, east, Main Street.
Main Street.
Yeah, in between Salinas Street and Main Street.
And
downtown Salinas.
You've been to that courthouse before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Quite a few times.
All right, so we're going to start from the beginning. I'm going to go back, and I know you're looking over here at me, but you can use that monitor, too, just a little bit.
Right here?
The camera. You see, where the camera
is. Oh, yeah,
that's
sure.
Right. And you got you leaning. You're a little bit in my picture, but you're okay.
Okay.
I won't spank you much. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. And because I can't move you, I'd have to get up there, but we're good. All right. So where's that name? Is that a German name?
It's a Swiss name.
Oh, Swiss name.
Yeah.
Oh,
Swiss German.
Swiss German. Okay. Vossen, my last name is German. I don't think it's Swiss. Some people say Denmark or something like that, Danish. But anyway.
Yeah,
all right.
could be.
So where were you born?
I was born in Washington, D.C. My dad was in medical school. My dad was a medical doctor. He was an OBGYN. And
I'm going to move me over on the other side. There we go. Okay, and I just moved you.
Is that okay?
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's
all right.
Okay, you're good.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, my dad was an OBGYN. He went to George Washington University.
What does that mean, OBGYN?
It's obstetrician, gynecologist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He delivered, he claimed, whether or not it's really true, he delivered over 10,000 babies in his career. Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to think, one a day or what?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I can tell you this. He was gone a lot. He was, and then when he would come back, he'd be exhausted and be sleeping. And so if it wasn't for, my baseball or sports, I don't know if I'd ever seen him. Yeah. He was working all the time.
All right. So, anyway, Washington, D.C., you said.
Right.
That's where you're born.
Right.
Okay. And any political reasons why you were there? Or just happened to be there?
No, my dad was in medical school.
Medical school? Okay.
Yeah.
Where was he from?
From Seattle, Washington.
Seattle, Washington, and he comes all the way over. It went from one Washington to another one.
He did.
Wow. Okay, great. All right. So had you ever had thoughts of following your dad's footsteps?
Well, my dad came to me one time and said, I would like you to take over my practice. And I told him that I don't like science. And I don't like any science classes or anything like that. And so that was about the end of me following in his footsteps.
I'm trying to go back to my high school days. I never did do a dissecting of a frog. Did you ever do that? You never did that.
I don't believe I ever. Well, I may have in biology. I may have.
Yeah.
I can't.
I don't think. I don't know why. I think I just missed that. So I don't think biology was a requirement in my days. I don't know.
Yeah, it was a requirement when I was in high school.
All right. So you went to school in Washington, D.C.?
No, we went back to Seattle.
Once
my dad graduated from medical school, he packed us up in a Ford station wagon. We went all the way across the country and went back to Seattle, Washington.
Wood paneling?
I don't think it was a Woody. No, I remember it being green.
Oh.
and it was one of that ugly green Ford, no wood paneling.
So you got brothers and sisters?
I have an older sister and a younger brother.
Older sister and younger brother. Okay, so you go to Washington. You're about what, 18 at this time? No, is that about right? No.
When I go back to
no, you well, wait a minute. Your dad went to medical school.
right,
So how old were you when you went back to Washington?
about 2 years old.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes sense now. All right. So you went to school there.
In Seattle, right?
Seattle.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And did you ever go to visit Portland at all while you lived there?
Sure, I had a good friend that lived in Portland that I went to college with, and I used to visit all the time.
Ah, okay. All right. Now, so you go to high school. When you were going to high school, were you thinking of law then?
Never.
Oh, never.
No.
No.
No,
Well,
never.
You didn't. Did you go to college? I guess.
Oh, of course.
Would you have a major?
When I was in high school, I was a 9-sport letterman. I lettered as a sophomore in track, football,
really?
and in swimming.
Oh, wow.
And so what I thought about was getting a college scholarship.
Okay.
In one of those sports.
Did you get one?
Well, what happened is that I got hurt playing football.
Oh.
And I ended up having to have surgery on my knee, on my left knee, and I had to have a arthroscopic surgery. And so I never really, in my senior year, I didn't play football, and I never really got as good as what I was offered some scholarships, but I'm not the type I wanted.
Oh, all right. So anyway, you end up going to some college.
University of Washington.
University of Washington. Did you have a major then?
I majored in political science and history.
Political science and history. How was that? What was that going to get you? Is there a job out there for that kind of stuff?
Well, I wasn't really, to be honest with you, I was just having fun.
Oh.
I was in a fraternity, in sororities, and I was in a rock and roll band.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
What, you played guitar?
No, I was a singer.
You were a singer?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we went around and played different gigs around Seattle.
You made money?
Yeah.
Some money? Okay.
Yeah, we made some money.
You didn't do a record or anything, right?
No, we weren't that good. But the guy that played guitar, his dad was kind of a famous local musician in the area, and his name was Stan Borson. He had his own TV show, and then his son Biff Borson was a fabulous guitar player, and
Biff?
Biff.
Is that a nickname, I guess?
No, that was his real name.
Real?
Yeah.
Who would do that, huh?
I don't know.
Okay.
But that was his name, Biff. And he was an amazing guitar player. And so for my fraternity, we picked up a bass player. I had a guy who played drums and whatever. And then we just did, standards, Rolling Stones, Beatles.
So this was in the mid-'60s, late 60s? What?
This was in the mid-'70s.
Oh, mid-'70s?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So and at that point you were going to college?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
All right. Well, of course.
Yeah, I was going to college.
All right. Well, good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. I'm still working on the name Biff.
Yeah,
Actually,
Biff.
Where does that come from?
I think it's Swedish.
Okay.
Borson. There's a lot of Swedish and Norwegians in Seattle.
Wasn't the guy? I'm trying to think. In Back to the Future, wasn't that bad guy? His name Biff or no? Or maybe.
Yeah,
not.
yeah. I think you're right. I think it was Biff.
Something.
Yeah.
Something strange.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, so you're going to college. You're in a band and so on.
Yeah.
All right. Now, how long did you do the band thing?
Well, we did the band thing as long as I was in college and the other guys were still, part of the fraternity. I think after about 3 years, I moved away and I moved in with some guys in a house off campus.
You couldn't move in with some girls, huh? Nice.
Well,
sorry.
No. Not at the time.
That would have been my choice if I had, had an option,
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so you moved into you moved into a dorm or something? Is that or a house?
No, a house. I had a house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm trying to move you up to. When did you go to law school, or was that way down the road?
Well, it wasn't way down the road. I ended up graduating.
Uh-huh.
I ended up spending about 9 months in Europe.
Oh.
So after I graduated, during the last couple of years of my college career, I was working at a restaurant in Bellevue, Washington, called the Butcher Restaurant, which was a restaurant that was owned by a guy who had an interest in the Seattle Supersonic basketball team. And he was a good friend of my dad, and they went to high school together. And so I got a job working there as a waiter, and I made a lot of money in tips. So I saved up probably a couple of $1,000s, and my dad said he would match it.
Oh.
So I went over to Europe. I had a one-way ticket. I left from Vancouver, Washington, and I had a backpack and a couple of pairs of jeans and socks, and I just traveled. I would stop. I would find jobs. I found a job in Salzburg, Austria, where I helped build a casino. And I met a guy from France. Father was he was a minister in their government, and so I met a lot of interesting people, and I would just flop on their couches, and I just traveled around for about 9 months.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Do you write this stuff down? You have it. You got it in your memory. Have you started an autobiography at all?
No, I haven't, but I probably should.
Okay.
I've got a lot of interesting experiences. I went back to this guy and his wife in France, Paris, and they were going to leave to go to Greece. And so I jumped on the Orient Express and took a train down from Paris. And all of a sudden, when we got into Yugoslavia, they made us get off the train, and they put all the local people on the train. We lost our seats, and so I met this girl from Canada, from Montreal, Canada, who spoke French and English, and we hitchhiked all the way down to Athens in big trucks and things, and
wow.
yeah. So that's one experience.
All right, you got to start doing your autobiography.
Okay. All right.
I actually have one online.
All
I'll
right.
send you the link. It's real simple. JimVosson.com. And it starts my grammar school days, and it's a continuing story. I can add to it all the time.
Sure.
So just something to. It's a good way to. It keeps the mind going.
Yeah.
You know that how that mind is. All right. So anyway, so now you met this girl. Did you end up with her later on, or?
Well, that's an interesting story, because what happened.
I can imagine if you were hitchhiking all over with her, right?
Well, what happened is that we got off the train.
Yes.
And we.
Now, was this the Orient Express?
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, why do they call it that? It obviously doesn't go to the Orient, right?
No, it doesn't. It either goes to Istanbul or it goes to Athens.
I see. Okay.
And I have no idea why they call it the Orient Express.
Okay. All right. So
but
anyway,
that's a good question.
You got off the train.
We got off the train somewhere in Yugoslavia, right around Skopje, if you want to look on a map. Skopje.
No, let me do that right now. No.
Okay. Yeah, Skopje. And and so we hitchhiked, and a guy picked us up, about our age, and I was in my early 20s, and we went over, and we had a couple of shots of some kind of Macedonian schnapps, and then he dropped us off on the highway, and so we were hitchhiking, and I had a sleeping bag, and I let the girl sleep in the sleeping bag.
Alone?
Well, yeah, because I was out there hitchhiking.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, along came a truck, semi truck, and the guy was originally, I think he was from Russia. The driver, and so she was sleeping, and we were going, and we went to a city called Thessalonica, and he let us out in Thessalonica, and what happened is that she left her purse that had all her money and all her
no.
and her
on
the
truck.
Yeah. And so
Oh.
all of a sudden, we're walking away and we're going to hitchhike again. And she says to me, you got to find the purse or, whatever.
Truck.
So, I couldn't remember what the truck looked like or whatever. I went
Yeah.
and ran around. Anyway, she got all upset with me.
Because she left it.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So she got upset with me, blamed it on me.
Yeah.
And so what I did is I bought a train ticket, and we ended up taking the train from Thessalonica down to Athens. Now, once we got to Athens, I met up with my friend.
And by the way, this is not in Canada. This is Athens, Greece.
Athens, Greece.
Okay, I got that.
Athens, Greece.
Gotcha.
I met up with my friends, and I told them, look, we got to get rid of this girl. Let's just drop her off. let's just drop her off at the Canadian embassy, and she can go to the American Express, and she can get her passport. Anyway, because she was from Montreal and spoke French, she immediately endeared herself to my friend's wife, who really liked her. Nice. So she ends up tagging along, and we ended up taking a boat from there to an island, Mykonos Island.
This is all in that 9-month period.
This is all in this 9-month period.
Okay. Right.
We go to Mykonos, and on Mykonos, they had a really nice resort-type hotel where they were staying, and I was staying downtown in the downtown part of Mykonos. And so we would do things together and blah, blah, blah. And on the last night, the girl comes to me and says, hey, let's go back to your room and let's have sex. And I told her, are you kidding me? Forget it. I don't want to have anything to do with you. And that's the end of that story.
You couldn't think of giving her my name and number at all? No.
Oh, I should have. If I would have known, I would have.
Did she actually use the word sex?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I don't think she used the word sex. I'm not sure. You know what? On Mykonos, you could get fresh fish. So, they would have them in these baskets. Yeah. And so you go to these restaurants and you just pick out what fish you wanted. And we were having dinner and having some wine and, enjoying ourselves. And one thing, was going to lead to another. But I put an end to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying right now.
Well, that's
you're
what
sticking to that story.
That's what I'm saying because my wife might be listening.
Yes, that's good. No, that's good. Does she know all this story?
No, I don't think she knows the story, but the story does continue in that they left, I stayed, and I ended up staying on Mykonos for another 2.5 months.
Whoa!
And
by yourself?
Yeah,
okay,
by myself.
Not with the girl.
Not with the girl. And so what happened is that I was in one of the bars, and the Greeks, they do this sort of dancing with the men, and you've probably seen this dancing where they da 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 da, this. Okay. And so all of a sudden, in comes this guy drunk out of his mind, and he just passes out in the middle of the dance floor.
Oh.
So all of a sudden, the manager or owner of the restaurant bar comes to me and says, you got to get this guy out of here. So I grab him, I put him over my shoulder, and I haul him out of there, and we get some coffee. And it turns out that he was a guy who was
driving the truck, and he had the lady's purse.
Well, he had a van. Oh. He had the only car on this island, and he had a van, a Volkswagen van. Oh. And what he was is that he was from a very wealthy family from Texas, and he had inherited a bunch of money. And so what he did is he bought this van, and he was renting a house. It was right on the beach, and so he said, "You can come and live with me, stay with me." So I would stay with him, and then what we would do is when the ships, the vessel, the ships, with Swedish girls and whatever you want to call them.
Really?
Yeah, we would pick them up.
Is your wife still listening, you think?
I hope not. I hope not. Okay, we would pick them up and take them to this one particular bar. And then we would, drink and whatever, and one thing led to another.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think this is probably a good spot to take a little break for a second. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Swedish Girls, I'm kind of like raring to go.
Yeah.
All right. It's so nice. Anyway, we're going to take about a 2-minute break. Let's see. How do I do this? I think I do that like that. And I'm back here. I'm Jim Vossen, V as in Victor, O-S-S-E-N. I'm here with John Klopfenstein, and we're telling his life story. We just left off with Swedish Girls. And not exactly sure where we're going with that, but we'll find that out here. We'll take a break. KMBY Monterey. Hi, Jim Vossen here for the Delray Oaks Chamber of Commerce. If you have never been to Delray Oaks before, it is well worth coming by. About 20 years ago, a young gentleman took on the task of counting all the trees in Delray Oaks. He's still counting them today. There's a great and famous restaurant in Delray Oaks called Tarpey's. And of course, they have a Starbucks and a Jack in the Box and a large Safeway. There is also a special place where people come from miles around to look at a large frog population. If you need your spirits lifted, there is the beautiful Church of the Oaks. Check out their website, churchoftheoaks.com. And if you're in the neighborhood, stop by and say hi to my good friend, Reverend Dr. Robert Helen. To find out more about Delray Oaks, check out DelrayOaksCalifornia.com. That's DelrayOaksCalifornia.com. Brought to you by the Delray Oaks Chamber of Commerce. To join the chamber, call 394-6501. Hi, Jim Vossen here for the Monterey Chamber of Commerce. If you are looking for a great place to dine in Monterey, like the old Fisherman's Grotto on Fisherman's Wharf, check out MontereyEatPlayAndStay.com. If you are looking for a great place to play in Monterey, like Cannery Row, check out MontereyEatPlayAndStay.com. If you are looking for a great place to stay in Monterey, like the Portola Plaza or the Monterey Tides on the beach next door to Seaside, check out MontereyEatPlayAndStay.com. If you are looking for cars, car parts, body shops, car clubs, etc., check out MontereyCarChannel.com. It's quite interesting and fun. For more great information about Monterey, check out MontereyCalifornia.us. That's MontereyCalifornia.us. All of this and more brought to you by the Monterey Chamber of Commerce. Not a member? Join today. Call 394-6501. All right, we are back. I'm Jim Vossen, V as in Victor, O-S-S-E-N. This is Community Chit Chat on this Saturday morning. One of those dates. All right, we'll do that, and we've done that, and now we'll bring back the way we've been doing this. I'm over on the upper side. We have John Klopfenstein. I'll put his name up here. I'm getting a little bit. When I first started doing this, it was really clumsy because I have to use. I have two mice. Do you call them mice when you have more than one mouse?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah. So I have one, and I'm not used to using one in my left hand. Okay, so I get really kind of strange, So anyway, all right. So
well, don't get strange.
No. So let's. Yeah. Okay. So let's leave the it was Swedish Girls, right?
Yeah, and this continues a little bit more.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and what happened is that one day I was on the beach, and the beaches are one beach is Super Paradise, which is a nude bathing beach.
Yeah. Now it's getting interesting.
Yeah, nude bathing beach. And up came a
something.
Up came a woman with a photographer.
Yes.
And she wanted to take my photograph along with a couple other guys that I was with for a magazine sort of like a Playboy, which would be a European sort of version of it. Now, I never did see myself or ever purchase it, but apparently I did hear from another guy that I was in this magazine because we were taking pictures with these models, European models that were semi-nude on the beach and in the water.
Semi-nude.
Yeah, I think. Well, they might have been nude.
Were you all nude?
No, we weren't.
You weren't.
No, we weren't completely.
So
nude.
you didn't make a centerfold at all?
No, I don't think I made the centerfold
with a staple that says "ouch."
Right.
Okay.
No.
You didn't do that.
No, and then I made a friendship with a guy from Massachusetts who was going to Harvard. or had graduated from Harvard, and he had a car, and so we drove all the way back from Athens to Grenoble, France, where I think he was going to school there in Grenoble, France. But we drove and we skirted around Albania, and we went through Yugoslavia, into Italy, and into France. It was quite an experience.
All right. So anyway, so now
now I'm back.
You're back in Washington?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, 9 months are over.
Right.
Originally, you bought a one-way ticket. Did you have enough money to buy the ticket to go back?
My parents sent me some money.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they did.
Pretty much spent your money?
Yeah.
Yes.
So they sent me some money, and I went back, and I got a job working at a horse racetrack called Long Acres Racetrack.
Oh, okay.
And my dad was good friends with the owner of the racetrack, and so I got a job working there first in their parking area. I was a parking attendant, and then I went from there, and I took tickets into the track, and then I was in their Party Mutual department, and it was a Teamsters job, and so I would work about 9 months, and then I'd get laid off, and so I'd get unemployment.
Oh.
I was living at home,
okay.
And I was making a lot of money, but my parents were getting tired of me being at home.
Yeah.
And I was in my 20s living at home, and my mom was doing everything, washing, drying, and cooking. And
your dad was delivering babies?
And my dad was delivering those 10,000 babies.
Yeah.
And so one day I got something in the mail, saying, hey, you've been accepted into a law school, University of San Diego Law School.
Had you applied there?
Well, my parents did it for me.
Oh,
and
that was nice of them.
I took the LSAT test. They talked me into taking that test.
Do that again?
LSAT.
Well, what does that mean?
It's a law school admissions test.
Okay, gotcha.
And so I was accepted, and so one day I packed up my bags, put them in the car. My mom and dad shook my hand. My mom gave me a little kiss on the cheek and said, "See you later, son."
Oh.
And I drove all the way down to San Diego and went to law school.
Oh. Now, okay, so now to get into law school at that time, you went to college?
Yeah.
Did that help your qualifying to go there, or could you have gone to law school without have done it?
No, you have to go. You have to graduate from college.
Oh, okay. All right.
In order to go to law school.
Okay, all right.
And so I graduated from the University of Washington,
Uh-huh.
and then I went and I did this European deal, and then I came back,
Right.
and I was working and making a lot of money,
Oh.
and I loved what I was doing there at the racetrack because I liked the people and the characters.
Plus, you could horse around every once in a while.
Oh, always.
Did you ride horses?
No.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I bet on them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you went to law school. How many years did you go to law school?
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, 3 years, and then
you take the bar test?
I took the bar, and
did you pass the first time? Some
no,
people don't.
I didn't pass the first time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring up that.
No, that's okay, because the bar passage rate at that time when I was taking it was about a 23 to 25% passage rate.
Okay.
Very low. They were trying to do that on purpose.
Oh.
And so
Too many lawyers?
Too many lawyers.
Okay.
And so what happened is that I ended up going up to Los Angeles, where I had a friend who I went to law school with, and he was working as a paralegal.
Oh.
And he was making a lot of money working as a paralegal, part-time kind of thing. And so I ended up working with him on a couple of projects, and then I went to paralegal school at UCLA, and I have a paralegal certificate.
No, okay.
So I was working, and then what happened is I ended up getting hired at Atlantic Richfield, ARCO, and I worked as a paralegal for ARCO on a couple of real big cases before I ended up passing the bar.
Ah.
And then I passed the bar.
Was that your second crack at it?
About third.
Third, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so then I passed the bar, and I had a good friend of mine who knew a lawyer who at Beverly Hills who needed some help in personal injury cases.
Oh.
So I ended up going and working for this lawyer in Beverly Hills on personal injury cases for about, I want to say 2 or 3 years. And then I just opened up my own law firm, and I ended up applying to various public defender offices, and I was hired by Yolo County up in.
But hold on, let's back up. You opened up your own office.
I did.
And how long did you have that at that time? Just until you got this other job, is that right?
Yeah, okay. Probably for a couple of years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
By the way, when you go to take the bar exam, is there a charge to do that?
Yes.
Oh, what's that run? Or back
big.
then?
It's about $500, I think, somewhere in there.
So if you miss that, you don't pass that, you go to take again. That's another $500.
It is.
Wow.
I think. Well, they may have a retake, a discount for a retake, but it's still expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still expensive. And then what happens is then if you don't have a job, then you're sitting there for another, because they only have the test in February and in July.
Okay.
So there's I think a 6-month period where you're not working or anything. So that's where I ended up doing this paralegal thing.
Okay.
So that helped me.
So then you went to what Yolo County?
Yolo, right.
Yolo. Where's that roughly? Is that
that's up there by UC Davis. That's part of Yolo County, UC Davis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay, yeah.
And the county seat is Woodland.
Woodland.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I went
off of Highway 5? Pretty close?
Yeah. Well, you take you go where I would go with 680.
Right.
I take the 680, I go over the bridge, and then I would go through Vacaville.
Yeah.
And then there's a little turnoff that takes you
to Woodland.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
To Woodland.
And it eventually connects to Highway 5.
It eventually does.
Yeah, so it's not quite there.
Right.
I got it, yeah.
Yeah.
Very familiar.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, so I was up there for 10 years.
Oh, 10 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now you were doing the paralegal, not really as an attorney, or you were an attorney?
No, I was an attorney. I'd passed the bar.
You passed it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah.
Yeah,
right.
So I was working
So what kind of law did you do there?
Criminal law, public defender.
Oh, public defender.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so, I went in there and I handled everything, misdemeanors. Then I was promoted up to felonies, and then I handled a lot of very serious cases for the office, a couple of murder cases and 3-strike cases. And
so a public defender, by the way, is somewhat at a little disadvantage as opposed to a prosecutor. They don't have the same tools available to them, or am I wrong?
No, I think you're right. Though theoretically you're supposed to have sort of an equality, but it seems that the prosecutors are able to get grants from the state of California, and those grants help them hire additional investigators and additional staff, support staff, and so it seemed like the prosecutors had a big advantage. Plus, they have the police on their side, and the police go to an academy. They learn how to testify. They learn how to write reports. They learn how to lie, and so eventually, you're really sort of up against it as a public defender. And plus, there's a lot of cases. I was handling a lot of cases. There probably somewhere between 150 and 200 felony cases at one time.
At one time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Well, now, what do you call... So you were there for 10 years doing that.
I was.
What do you call... is there a ratings thing? For instance, how many cases did you win? How many cases did you lose? Do you have some kind of a rating at that time, or how's that work?
Well, every year you get evaluated by your supervisor, and they write an evaluation that's, concurrent with the public defender, reviewing the evaluation. And if you get a good evaluation, then you can get through the grade. So when you're hired at like a 2-1, and then you go all the way up to 2, 5, or 6, and then you go to 3, and then so you're constantly getting. Hopefully, you're getting promoted and getting more money.
Now, I'm just assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, which probably I'm not, but in most cases, I'm assuming is where somebody is charged with a crime, and if there wasn't a public defender, that person would, let's say there was an automatic 10-year sentence. You come in as a public defender, and you do this and you do that, and somehow maybe get that reduced to a 2-year sentence.
That's not how it works.
Okay.
What happens is then somebody commits a crime,
Yeah.
is arrested by the police.
Right.
Then what happens? They're arraigned in front of a judge, and they're told what their charges are. At that point, they're asked, "Can you hire your own attorney?" And if they say no, then they're entitled to a public defender. And so then the judge says, "Okay, we'll appoint the public defender." So there's a public defender that's there at the arraignment. Then that public defender then passes the cases around to the various supervisors, who then assign them to the various deputy public defenders. So I get the case from the onset.
Okay.
Pretty much from the onset.
All right. But again, so what's the an end result? I assume you have gotten some acquittals. Would you say that, or?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I have. I would say they're few and far between, because theoretically, in order to file a case against somebody, they have to. The district attorney has to determine that they can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. If they can't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, then they shouldn't be filing the case.
Ah, okay. All right.
So theoretically, we're supposed to lose.
Theoretically, you're supposed to lose.
Right, but sometimes we win.
Okay, sometimes you win.
Yeah.
But not most of the times, then.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of plea bargaining going on.
Well, that's what I meant when I was first talking about it. And that is that plea bargaining is where a sentence can be reduced. Is that correct?
Well, what happens is, let's say the maximum on a particular case is 3 years prison. 3 years prison, but the individual doesn't have much of a record, and so what you do is you plea bargain it to, let's say, probation. So instead of the person going to prison for 3 years, the person is put on probation and serves a certain amount of time in the county jail. And
it was your job to help do that.
And that's my job.
Facilitate that.
Right.
Okay, very good. All right. Did you ever get, like, let's say, for instance, somebody that really did let's say a murder, a crime, that did that, but somehow through your stuff, you actually got them reduced sentence or got them acquitted? Anything like that ever happen?
Sure.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to do specifics.
Most of the time, the defendants have done what they've done, okay? However, if each case was being litigated, meaning going to trial, and I had between 150 and 200 cases, the DA, district attorney, deputy district attorney, had just as many cases, and so, I mean, it would just clog the whole system up, and so there had to be plea bargaining in order to make the system work.
Sure.
You had to plea bargain. So a lot of times these guys, committed pretty serious crimes, but as a result of the caseload and various circumstances, and maybe something the police did wrong, a lot of times the police make errors, and you point that out to the district attorney, and so they have problems through the technicalities, and you can get a lot of cases reduced.
Okay. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take one last break real quick to catch your breath, because you've been doing a lot of talking.
I have.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you having fun?
Yeah.
I think we should do this on a month-to-month basis. What do you think? You're up
Sure.
for that?
Sure.
Okay. Sign here.
Okay.
No, it's okay. Anyway,
right.
hang on.
All right.
All right, I'm going to figure out how I do this. My old switches. We do this, and then I'm going to do this. Here we go. We'll be right back.
KMBY Monterey.
Hi, Jim Watson here for the Sand City Chamber of Commerce. Sand City is well known for its large art community. Check out sandcityartworld.com. Sand City is also known for its industrial businesses like Disaster Cleanup, Floor Store USA, Cypress Cabinets, A&R Plumbing, and many more. Yes, Sand City has 2 shopping centers with Costco, Office Depot, Target, Home Goods, not to mention the 2 new burger places, Five Guys and Habit Burger Grill. Plus my favorite place, McDonald's. Love that quarter pounder. Check out sandcityshopping.com. Sand City has a giant development in the works, including lots of apartments and a hotel or 2. For more great information about Sand City, check out sandcitycalifornia.com. That's sandcitycalifornia.com. All of this and more brought to you by the Sand City Chamber of Commerce. Not a member? Join today. Call 394-6501. Hi, Jim Vossen here for the Seaside Chamber of Commerce. If you're looking for a great place to eat in Seaside, like the Googie Grill on Del Monte near Canyon Del Rey, or the Wakatobi Japanese Grill at 1130 Fremont Boulevard, check out SeasideEatAndStay.com. If you're looking for a great place to stay in Seaside, like the Econo Lodge Bay Breeze Inn at 2049 Fremont Boulevard, or the Big Embassy Suites at the corner of Canyon Del Rey and Del Monte, check out SeasideEatAndStay.com. If you're looking for a new or used car, check out SeasideAutoDealers.com, where you'll find BMW of Monterey, Victory Toyota, Lexus Monterey Peninsula, and more. Check out SeasideAutoDealers.com. For more great information about Seaside, check out SeasideCalifornia.us. That's SeasideCalifornia.us. All of this and more brought to you by the Seaside Chamber of Commerce. Not a member? Join today. Call 394-6501. All right, we're back. We're wrapping this little puppy up. We're going to talk about something a little different regarding law, but also what's going on these days. I'm Jim Vossen. This is Community Chit Chat. And where's my little, there we go. Okay. And that was a quick one. All right. And now we've got back with John. We'll bring him in like so. John Klopfenstein. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
So you were, as we were going up, now one of the reasons I want to bring you back, because, I have some interest. I briefly told you some things and stuff, but I think down the road we can talk about all sorts of stuff and maybe help some people out there. Because I'm working on an advertising jingle for you or a song. You know that song? It was I think Bobby Fuller 4. They did a song called. I Fought the Law and the Law Won.
Oh, sure.
Do you remember that?
Love it. I love the song.
I've created a 1-minute spot with that where it starts off with, it has that in there, and then kind of, you can't fight the law by yourself. You need help.
Right.
That's the idea behind it.
You do.
So, and there's a lot of things we can talk about that. There's some horror stories out there, a lot having to do with where somebody hasn't paid child support for 10 years, and all of a sudden they catch up with him, and he owes $150,000.
Right.
Okay, what the heck does he do,
Right.
So anyway, but talking about the situation now with this coronavirus, and what do they call this? What's the number of the
COVID-19.
19. Why can't they just say with the one name? Why do they have to? Why do they have 2 names to it?
I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe that's, I don't know. Maybe that's the molecule. The molecule that's attacking people.
Maybe it is. So you have an interesting story.
Well, I do. Last night,
Yes.
I'm going to my office pretty much on a daily basis, but I am, doing it on a sort of an abbreviated time. I get in there around 10 and leave around 4 o'clock or so, and we're locking the doors, and we're not really letting anybody in, though I do have a sign up on the front door of the office that says that I am open, and that if somebody wants to come in and talk to me, or a client or FedEx or whatever, call my number, which is 831-751-3947, and that's my office number. And so apparently the door must have been open.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear their number. What's your number again?
It's 831
Yes.
751
Yes.
3947.
Okay. Thank you.
That's my number.
Okay.
So I was about to leave. It was about 4:45, and in came a longtime client of mine that owns a couple of smog companies in Salinas, and he was crying.
Oh.
And he said to me, "John, I'm 50 years old, and I'm not going to be able to make the rent for my business. What do I do? What do I do?" And I told him that there's a moratorium on evictions right now, and
does that include businesses?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so I told him not to worry, but he was, he's a grown man, and kind of a macho guy, and he was so devastated by what's happened, because of the coronavirus and the way it's affected businesses. And he indicated to me that he hadn't received any help from the government. He hadn't received any kind of stimulus checks or anything, and he's applied for small business loans. They ran out of money, and has been mismanaged. And here in comes this kind of macho guy who has always had cash and money. He's been a very good client, and he was crying like a baby. And it was sad.
Yeah.
It was just sad.
Yeah.
To see that.
And so, don't leave off from there.
Oh. I'm sorry.
You didn't kick him out, did you?
Oh, of course not. Okay. I explained. He wanted to, because he had heard from some friends that he couldn't be evicted and things. And I told him that was all true and not to worry, and that if, in fact, this landlord tries to evict him against this moratorium, I'll represent him for free and help him out, and help him in any way I can legally to maintain his business, so that his. So
here's the catch-22. I guess there can be a catch-22. So if, let's say, for instance, he got waived from being evicted and he missed, let's say, 3 months of rent. Okay, and then if that moratorium ends, can that landlord say, "Where's the 3 months of rent?"
Yes. He still has to pay the rent.
Still has to pay the rent.
Right.
Yeah, and
but he may be able to work out some sort of payment.
Yeah.
Hopefully, businesses are going to come back. People are going to be able, to go out. It's going to be a new normal. I know that more than likely it's going to be a lot like the flu. There'll probably be some vaccination that they'll come up with that they'll vaccinate you with, but that is just like the flu. It doesn't completely prevent getting it, and so there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be wearing masks. You're going to probably have to stay 6 feet away. There's going to be this social distancing, and there's going to be a lot of new kind of things. But at the same time, I think the economy will come back, and I think this guy and other people will be okay.
So, if I may, do you have a mask? Do you have in the office?
Well, I have a client that is a seamstress.
Oh, really?
That over at the dry cleaner there in Sand City.
Oh, I know her. She's Russian.
Actually, she's Polish.
Oh, she's Polish, but she speaks a little Russian.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they all do.
Yeah, say spasiba. That's thank you.
Yeah, Dorada.
Dorada, what's that?
That's the seamstress.
Oh, no, that's a seamstress. Right, right.
Dorada is.
So she make you a face mask?
She's making me a face mask.
Make it. So you don't have one yet.
Well, I'm gonna after this television show. I'm gonna go by there, drop off my dry cleaning, and pick it up.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
Good.
So I have a mask.
All right. Well, I have one too, but I have a funny feeling it's a 3M thing, but I think it's missing something because.
Yeah,
I could blow air out through it. I don't think you're supposed to be able to do that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't either.
I don't know anything about masks.
It looks good.
Well, she's making me I picked out the fabric and everything, so she's making me a real hip.
I want a custom one that says, "Give me all your money."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go to the bank.
They're not gonna, do that to me. All right, we're getting down. Let me see what time. We're getting close. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, hopefully this guy's going to work it out. First when you said he's 50, because I'm 70 now. I just turned 70.
Yeah,
he's not old.
No,
but it's kind of like I told you before about in 1970 I had the IRS hit me for $7,000, and I got to tell you, I'm 20 years old. I'm thinking it's the end of the world.
Right.
I'm not 50. I'm only 20, but I'm thinking, oh my, what do you do?
Right.
And it wasn't until later when I run into a problem with the state that I realized the feds were nothing. The state, when they want you, they want you.
Yeah, they're worse. You're right.
So, all right. So, what do you think? So this guy. Is he still open? Does he? Is people are still doing small stuff?
He's still open, but his
business is slow.
His business is very slow because nobody's going out, nobody's driving, and so and so he's not getting the kind of business that he used to get, and as a result, a lot of people get themselves into what I would call bad leases, and and so now. When you don't have a lot of money and he realizes I'm in a bad lease, and he's got a bad landlord that wants the money, and it's not, he said he has two landlords. One landlord is willing to work with him, and very compassionate. He used the word compassionate. This other one is not. And so that's what he's concerned about. And what he did is he set his dad up in a second shop, and his dad's lease that he's concerned about.
Well, wait a minute. He's 50 and his dad has a shop.
His dad has.
He's got to be about my age.
Well, I don't know how old he is, but he could be, sure. Yeah.
All right. Oh boy. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. Well,
so it's a mess, and
it's a mess.
It's not just this is just an example, but I think there's a lot of people that are a lot like this guy, that are hurting out there, and and psychologically it's having an effect. You can't go to a restaurant, you can't go to a movie theater.
Well, that was the other thing. So are the courts closed?
The courts are closed.
Courts are closed.
Yes.
So that's when I was trying to figure out you don't have a mask, but you don't have to go to court because the courts are closed.
They are closed, correct.
You can't even do any filings or anything like that?
Oh, yeah, you can do filings. You can do filings. The filings are all done electronically now.
Okay, all right.
So you don't go physically into the court clerk's office and physically answer or hand them the document. You do it, you scan it, put it in a PDF file, and then you electronically send it to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in the old days, you had to use legal size paper. Now it's 8.5 by 11, and you're supposed to use both sides. Is that correct?
No, not both sides.
Oh, not both sides.
No.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it used to be both sides, but back then each county had their own requirements for what, like L.A. County had their own requirements versus what you would file in Monterey County. They were different.
Now, do you have a paralegal that works with you?
I don't.
Or do you do everything yourself?
I do everything myself.
Oh.
It's a handcrafted thing that I do. I meet with a client. I put together the attorney-client retainer agreement. I prepare. I file, and I have a good friend of mine, Peter Hemming, who he does some service of process for me. So we serve it, and then I go into court for the client.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. We got about 1 minute. What would you like to get out there? Oh, give your phone number again.
831
931
751
751.
3947.
Yes. And you're in Salinas, California.
I'm in Salinas, right?
And, and people shouldn't be hesitant to call you. Is that right?
I'm there.
It's better to call you at the beginning of a problem than in the middle of it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Don't wait till it's sometimes too late.
Particularly if you have a criminal issue.
And that's what you specialize in, is that
well,
right?
I was in two separate public defenders' offices, Yolo County, and then I was in the Monterey Public Defender's Office also.
Ah, okay. All right. Well, this is going to be a continuing thing. I want to thank you very much. Did you enjoy today?
I did, Jim.
It could have gone. Could be. All right, and this thing will be posted later on today.
Great.
On our site, you'll have.
Great.
It. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, John.